What is up, guys? Welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Kevin Crates. This is the channel where we go over to crypto news followed by 5 charts every day. Today looking at Bitcoin, Ethereum, Link, Luna, and EGLD. And as always, timestamps are down in the description below. Make sure that subscribe button and turn that bell on to catch notifications for all daily uploads. Looking at the markets today, we can see Bitcoin having a bit of a pullback today, but Ethereum, on the other hand, is finally outperforming Bitcoin. It is about time. We've all been expecting it leading up to the Ethereum London hard fork, and we can clearly see today that Ethereum, unfazed by Bitcoin's pullback, and continues to pump. The rest of the market is looking a little choppy today. Some things are having a good day. Some things are not having the best day. We got Terra Luna up a little bit today. We're going to be diving into that chart later on. Axie Infinity still hanging on to that $40 range. If you guys are wondering where the Axie Infinity chart is today, my thoughts on Axie today would be the exact same as yesterday since price action really hasn't changed. So if you guys missed that, make sure to jump to yesterday's video, jump down to the timestamps and just click on AXS. My price targets will still be the same for Axie Infinity, but overall the market is looking decent. It's going to be interesting to see if everything keeps pumping and if Ethereum can continue to carry the market over the next few days, or if we're going to see a pullback with Bitcoin. Because last time we saw Ethereum pump and carry the market, it did raise up Bitcoin's price as well, but we're seeing Bitcoin go in one direction today and Ethereum continue to hold on to that price action above that 2620 price range that we talked about. And it's looking decent. It's not too strong above that range, but we can clearly see support in that 2620 price range. We'll dive into the charts later, but overall, the market is looking decent today. Just a quick update on the DPET chart. We talked about this yesterday. For those of you who are new here, I've been talking about DPET for quite some time. I got involved myself around $1. I tweeted about it around $2, and DPET was quite the ride. I did take profits along the way, but I was holding quite a lot of DPET still. I think there's so much potential in this project, and the chart always looked great up until around 24, 48 hours ago. That kind of changed. And I made sure to talk about that right away on the video yesterday as well, that I would be looking for an exit from my position on DPET if I did not see a change in this chart, which I have not. So I got out around $7.50. Afterwards, I saw DPET dip down to around $6.26. I still have not re-entered my position. I still don't like what I'm seeing. Baseline, lagging span have come out. They had not come out yesterday. We talked about the potential of that happening. There is this trend change indicator here as well. It does have some things going for it. Stochastic RSI is low. It may pump from here. It may push back up to around $7.90 and above there. If it gets back above $8.50, then DPET is back in a bullish state. And if DPET manages to push back up into a bullish state up here, I will happily buy back at a higher price target. But what I'm not going to do is hold these small projects when the chart starts to look bearish to me like this. As far as price action goes, baseline is out, lagging span is out, and DPET could drop anywhere from 5.7 to 4.7. It may bounce at $6, but as far as price action goes, I don't like what I'm seeing with this chart anymore, so I personally exit my position. I'll keep you guys posted as far as DPET goes. I'm still playing the game. I'm still very bullish on the project. I'm just not so bullish on this chart. Looking at Bitcoin's daily chart, let's zoom in here, turn on our notes from the other day. We talked about this main price target of around 38.5 yesterday. It's moved up a little bit to 38.7 because that moving average has got a bit of a slope going on. But as far as price action goes, I'm still looking at 38.5, 38.6, 38.7. It's all around the same price area. But if prices dip below 38.5, that's going to be the main indication for me that prices are going to be trending lower. And I'll show you on the 4-hour why. If you look here on the 4-hour, you can see here prices have managed to bounce off the Kumo cloud around 38.5, 38.7. It's going to run into resistance right now, right around here, 39.5. And if it can't manage to get back above there, I just imagine it's going to retest this support level. But as far as price action goes, the main indication if Bitcoin is going to be getting back into a bullish state is going to be 40.5. If Bitcoin can't reclaim 40.5, I would not be surprised to see prices trend lower. That's going to be the main indication of a bullish move. As far as price action below that, I start keeping my eye on 38.5 as the main indication of price action is going down. If it loses 38.5, I start looking for 37.7. I'd also keep my eye on this price target right here of around Let me just grab that price label around 37.1. So if it loses 37.7, I start keeping my eye on 37.1. And below that, the baseline is going to come out down here. Keep my eye on around 36 to 35.9. So price targets for Bitcoin, pretty straightforward for the time being. It's got to get back above 40.5. If it can't manage to do that, it's got to hold that 38.5 support. If it can't manage to hold 38.5, I keep my eye on 37.7. And below that, 37.1. Looking at Ethereum's daily chart, let's zoom in here, turn on our notes from before. As far as price action goes, Ethereum is looking very bullish. As we talked about this price target of around 2620 yesterday. It's managed to get outside the Kumo cloud, and now it has a possibility to shoot into the 2800s. And as far as price action goes, yes, this is a lot of green candles in a row, but this is not the same scenario as Bitcoin. Bitcoin pumping out so many green daily candles in a row had no rhyme or reason to it. Nothing about that price action made sense. There was the shorts getting liquidated, which added up to some of the story as to why Bitcoin had pumped so hard. But the amount of green candles we're seeing on Ethereum is a bit of a different story. We've all been waiting for and expecting Ethereum to outperform Bitcoin leading up to the London hard fork, which is now just right around the corner. And the fact that Ethereum is pumping the way it's pumping is not a surprise. It's just a matter of, will there be a correction before the pump, and can it keep this bullish pressure up? Let's jump over to the weekly chart for a moment so I can show you guys another thing going on with Ethereum that is very different than Bitcoin. Looking at Ethereum's weekly chart, we're going to compare this weekly chart to Bitcoin's weekly chart. This is Bitcoin's weekly chart. And we watched Bitcoin's weekly chart for some time because we talked about the fact that it was pressing up against the Kumo cloud, and that we talked about a possible relief bounce. Now that relief bounce was much stronger than any of us expected, but Bitcoin is still riding right up against that Kumo cloud, and prices could trend down at any time. Ethereum, on the other hand, never really approached the Kumo cloud. Not only that, if prices get above 2840, 2850, this is a very bullish looking weekly chart, and Ethereum has the possibility to pump much higher from there. As far as price action goes, as far as a weekly chart goes in comparison to Bitcoin, Ethereum looks very bullish, and with the hard fork right around the corner, really anything can happen. And with this price target only being around 2840 to 2850, if we jump back to the daily chart, I mean, Ethereum's got a pretty clear shot to around 2800 or above, and even a bit of a correction here to 2540, even down to 2450. Ethereum still has the possibility out here to push towards 2800, and on the weekly chart, that would set Ethereum up in a very bullish scenario that Bitcoin is not quite in. So at the moment, the question is, can Ethereum continue to pump with all these green candles leading up to today, and can Ethereum carry the market if it does start pumping? Because for the time being, we are seeing Bitcoin push down in price, and we're seeing Ethereum reflect that because they are still currently connected to each other. But as far as price action goes, even if Ethereum pulls down to around 2530, 2540, even drops down to 2460, this conversion line should come up, act as a bit of support. This is still a very bullish scenario for Ethereum, especially that weekly chart. If Ethereum manages to maintain this price action here and make a shot for around 2800 and claim it and push into the high 2800s, on the weekly chart, we're looking at a very bullish Ethereum. And when you compare Ethereum and Bitcoin's weekly chart like we just did, these are two very different looking weekly charts. And Ethereum does have the potential leading up to the London hard fork and potentially even afterwards to push up in price higher, but it really all depends on what happens in the coming days. Because we may see Bitcoin pull Ethereum's price action down for the time being, and then Ethereum's pump leading up to the hard fork won't be as high as 2800. But I don't think that's going to happen because Ethereum is hanging on to a lot of its price action. And when you compare the two charts on so many different time frames, take a look at Ethereum's daily chart versus Bitcoin's daily chart. You can take a look at Ethereum's 4-hour chart, still bullish even if it drops down to around 2500, versus Bitcoin's 4-hour chart, just riding along that Kumo cloud and could potentially drop as low as 37.1. You go back to Ethereum's weekly chart. Ethereum's weekly chart, very bullish if price gets above 2840. This is a very bullish setup. Bitcoin, on the other hand, riding that Kumo cloud, prices could drop as low as the 3200 or below. So they're very different looking charts, and it's really only a matter of time in the coming days that we get some kind of answer. Can Ethereum start to pump the market and potentially even carry the market, including Bitcoin? So for the time being, all we can really do is keep our eye on price targets because, again, just like Bitcoin, this insane amount of green candles, which is now more green candles than Bitcoin showed on the daily, there has to be some kind of correction. But again, Ethereum and Bitcoin, very different stories as to why they pumped out so many green candles. And Ethereum does have a catalyst. There is the London hard fork, and there is the possibility that Ethereum could keep pumping. But for the time being, price targets, it's got to get above 2620 and show strength and make a push into the high 2600s for a possibility to take around 2800, claim that. And if it pushes into the high 2800s, Ethereum is in a very bullish position. Pullback target's pretty simple. It's got to stay above 2540, 2530. Pullback possible to around 2462. But on the 4-hour, I showed you guys even a pullback to around 2,500 is still a bullish scenario for Ethereum. But for the time being, price targets, we'll keep our eye on 2530 and 2460 as our pullback targets. Looking at Chainlink's daily chart, Link is looking very bullish. Let's turn on the notes from the last time we talked about Link. So Link has managed to push above 23.7, and in my opinion, Link's got a shot at 25.2. And if we jump to the 4-hour chart, you can see here, if we turn off all the notes, very bullish looking setup. Conversion line, baseline, nice and spread out. Lagging span way back out here. Link is pumping, and the stochastic RSI, if we move this over so you guys can see, very low as far as price action goes. I would not be surprised to see Link push towards at least 25.2 at the very minimum, and above there, Link has an opportunity to shoot towards 27.4, but 25.2, I would not be surprised to see Link get to that price target as long as Ethereum or Bitcoin keep pumping, one of the two. But as far as price action goes, Link has managed to get above the moving average and it pretty much has a clear shot towards 25.2. But if you look at the 4-hour chart, things look very decent on the 4-hour chart as well. Nice looking setup here. Jumping back to the daily chart, turn the notes on. As far as price action goes, if Link can't maintain this push towards 25, I'd watch for a pullback right to this range of around 23.7, which should give us some indication of where Link is headed. Below 23.7, I keep my eye on 23.1, and below that, I keep my eye on 21.8. Anything below that, and the market is probably crashing as far as Chainlink goes. I don't see any reason for it to go back down to $20 for the time being unless Bitcoin or Ethereum start dipping in price. So initial pullback, if it can't push towards 25.2, which right now it's got a clear shot towards, and that 4-hour chart looks great. Above that, I keep my eye on 27.4, but for the time being, I think it's got a good shot to 25.2. However, if it can't make that shot, I keep an eye on a pullback to around 23.7, below that 23.1, and below that 21.8. Looking at Luna's daily chart, let's zoom in here. Luna is a very bullish looking chart. Conversion line, as soon as that baseline pops out with the lagging span, this is pretty much all set for a breakout. The only issue is the extreme amount of green candles on Ethereum. The fact that Bitcoin is pretty much due for a pullback at this point. And it's the same story with Link. Although these setups do look very bullish, it's because Bitcoin and Ethereum have been pumping so hard. And all it takes is for them to correct a little bit, and we should see lower price targets hit on pretty much all of these. But for the time being, if Luna looks great, I mean, if I jump to the 4-hour chart, same story. Luna looks great on the 4-hour chart. Conversion line, baseline, nice and far apart. Lagging span, nice and far apart. Stochastic RSI, room to pump. As far as price targets go for the time being, it's got to get above 12.7. It's not a very huge support or resistance here, so I would not be surprised if Luna pushes above that in price action as long as the market continues to pump. And above that, Luna can go anywhere from $13.5 to $14. But as far as price action with Bitcoin and Ethereum goes, I would not be surprised to see them possibly correct. So for that very reason, we'd also have to keep our eye on the pullback targets. For the time being, the main one I keep my eye on is right around here, which is around 11.1. If there is a correction with Bitcoin and Ethereum, 11.1 is the possible scenario of where Luna would pull back to. It does have a bit of support here of around 11.9, depending on how large of a correction Bitcoin or Ethereum gives the market. But around 11.1 would be my first pullback target. Below that, I keep my eye on around 11.1, and below that, I keep my eye on 10.4. 10.4 is going to be a big one. If it can't manage to stay above 10.4, then it's most likely trended back towards the Kumo cloud. I'll keep that out of the price targets for now, but 11.9 to 11.1 are going to be my pullback targets. As far as resistance goes, Luna's got to get above 12.7. It's really not a huge resistance. It all just depends on Bitcoin and Ethereum. If Luna can get above 12.7, it's got a shot from anywhere from $13.5 to $14, but 12.7 resistance, pullback targets, 11.9 to 11.1. Looking at EGLD, Elrond Gold's daily chart. Elrond is looking bullish. We looked at this a while ago. Let's turn on our notes from last time. Elrond is outside of the Kumo cloud, showing a bit of a downward pressure on this daily candle, but it's brand new, so I wouldn't put too much emphasis on that at the moment. But Elrond does have a shot to push towards around $110. Elrond has managed to get out the Kumo cloud. We saw a lot of bullish action from it back here, and now it's managed to use this Bitcoin pump to its advantage, pushed above the moving average with that huge green candle on the daily there, and now it is outside the Kumo cloud. So we jump to the 4-hour chart and take a look here. You can see it is a little bit overextended. It didn't quite push as high as its previous highs. That doesn't necessarily mean, I mean, look at this last candle here. It's still in a bullish zone. It all kind of depends on how this candle closes, but we're about 2 to 3 hours away from any indication of that. So if Elrond can't push towards this price range here, if it can't get back above 104, if you can get above 105, it has the opportunity to push towards 110, in my opinion. But that all depends on Bitcoin and Ethereum. So if Bitcoin and Ethereum start to pull back in price, I keep my eye on these price target pullbacks around $95 on the higher range. Still very bullish around $95. There's nothing wrong with Elrond pulling down to $95. $93 as well, a little bit more bearish, but still in a bullish state at $93. Anything below that, I'd start to keep my eye on this price target right here of around $86. So it's going to be a bit of a jump in price, in my opinion. If Elrond can manage to push above 105, it's got a shot for 110. As far as pullback targets, pretty straightforward. $95 on the higher end. Below that, I keep my eye on $93, and on the lower end, if the market is dipping, I keep my eye on around 86.9. All right, folks, that's all for today. If there's any charts you want to look at in the future, leave it down in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and turn that bell on to catch notifications for all daily uploads. If you're not following me on Twitter, KevinCrates_ on Twitter. I'm extremely active on there. Anytime you tweet at me, I will always tweet back at you. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I'm out.